Hi everybody, this is Luke, and welcome back to Serious Sunday. I hope that everybody's doing good. It is a sweltering summer's eve here in Eastern Canada, but we're toughing it out. It's also my birthday, so yay, happy birthday me. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about something that had actually flown completely under my radar until today, and it was a pretty exciting piece of news for me. That is the release of a fan remake of Metroid 2 on the PC. It is known as Project AM2R, Return of Samus. I'm sure the M2 is Metroid 2, but yeah, it was an old Game Boy game that was sort of a major part of the plot line of the Metroid series and sort of what led into Super Metroid, which is, for old boys like me, sort of the most important entry into the Metroid series. It was, however, for those of us who didn't really own Game Boys or who didn't really play a lot of the Metroid games that early on, sort of flew under the radar. So many people may not have had the opportunity to play the game, so it's a big deal to get the chance to jump in and try this classic Metroid experience, although it has been updated for modern systems and to sort of fit a more modern aesthetic. To give it a chance and to try it out. And I played it a little bit before recording this video, and it is spectacular. I loved every moment of it, and I have my fingers crossed that Nintendo is okay with it. And that's really what I wanted to talk about today, is Nintendo and their... I hesitate to call it draconian, but it really is. They have a very sort of heavy hand when dealing with anything really to do with their copyright. They are the Disney of Japan, if I were to equate them to sort of a Western company, which is to say that they have a couple of properties that they guard very jealously, and if you don't sort of conform to their ideals of the way that content should be handled, they usually come at you with, Mario's hammer back in Donkey Kong, which is to say that entire YouTube channels have been taken down thanks to Nintendo, and yeah, it's not a pretty look, but it's this weird gray area, fan remakes and fan projects like this. Projects have been taken down in the past. LucasArts was famously responsible for the takedown of some projects that were fan sequels to the Indiana Jones properties, for example. So it wouldn't be the first time that a company has come after somebody for making a new video game or a new game in general that is based on one of their intellectual properties. And to be honest, in many interpretations of the law, they're certainly within the boundaries of the law to do that. So this really kind of comes down to a matter of business goodwill, or sort of their feelings toward the project in general and how they want to deal with it. It's kind of a sticky subject insofar as a company like Nintendo does absolutely have to, in many cases, protect their brands, protect their intellectual property, and in many cases may very well feel obligated to fight against the creation of products that could, quote-unquote, be misconstrued as something that infringes upon their rights, or could possibly be misconstrued as something that is a product that they created or had a hand in, which in the case of a product like AM2R, they absolutely did not. So, that could be one of the reasons possibly why they might come after a project like this. It's really hard to say. Hopefully they don't. But You know, Nintendo doesn't have the most stellar track record when it comes to dealing with an even hand with fan projects and other things along those lines. If you have been interested in the YouTube space in general, and I imagine that some of the people that watch my channel are other YouTubers, not entirely unlike myself, who kind of try and keep on top of these sorts of things, you'll probably be aware that Nintendo has some interesting policies when it comes to dealing with their content being displayed on YouTube. I'm taking the risk and putting this video in the background of my video today because it's not content that was created directly by Nintendo. This is entirely fan content. These are fan sprites. This is gameplay that is very, very heavily informed by Nintendo content, but it is not Nintendo content in and of itself. So fingers crossed that this doesn't come to bite me in the ass someday in the future. But that said, I'm leaving it in the background, and yay, let's hope. But the creators of this project may be on the absolutely happiest and ignored completely by Nintendo, and that's kind of what I think both myself and many other people in the space are going to be hoping is happening. On the far and sort of scary end of the spectrum, they could also come under lawsuit by Nintendo for infringing on their copyright and distributing this product that is an obvious sort of rip-off of one of their projects. Now, it's hard to exactly say that, it is 100... Well, the thing is, they use the name Metroid, and they use the name Samus, and if nothing else, Metroid is copyrighted by Nintendo, so... or I should say trademarked by Nintendo. So, yeah, using that name may very well be the biggest no-no that they have here. That said, the project itself is called AM2R, which is really a string of numbers and letters, so that's not necessarily something that could be, that's something that they could say, well, our game is just called AM2R. We put Metroid in there because we wanted people to know that it's based on a Nintendo property called Metroid, but I don't know how much, that would hold water in the case that Nintendo decides to litigate against this project. I hope that they don't, once again, but I'm not going to completely discount it because Nintendo, with their Creators Program, which some of you may or may not be already familiar with, have already set up a very sort of weird precedent in the way that they deal with their fans, which is to say that you can, for example, register your entire channel to be a part of the Creators Program. However, if you register your entire channel with Nintendo, then you're not allowed to put content on your channel that is not related to their content. You can also register individual videos with Nintendo, but you kind of have to plan ahead and create those videos, then have Nintendo okay those and kind of give you the go-ahead to go with those, and they'll claim the content as their own, but the going theory is that if it makes a profit, they send some of that profit back to you, and yay, everything goes fine. So who knows? I don't have a lot of experience dealing with it. My experiences so far have been very mediocre. As a developer, and from the perspective of somebody who creates content and has had that content streamed online, I personally am always flattered when somebody makes a video of something that I had a hand in. I love watching people's Let's Plays of Octopus Trip 2, for example. Despite all of the sort of overt disdain perhaps for the people who developed the game, and I totally understand that. It's a weird concept for a weird game, so I can't fight against people for the way that they react to some of the projects that I've had a hand in the course of my career. But hey, I worked for a company that made those kinds of games. We also made Way of the Samurai, which is another quirky game in and of its own right, so what are you going to do? But when those games are streamed online, were happy to have them streamed. My friends over at Xseed, when the Game Grumps started streaming Akiba's Trip 2, they only did 3 episodes, and this guy named Rocco was in the video, who was, for lack of a better terms, kind of came across as a douchebag as somebody who actually created the game. But, you know, I'm sure it was all meant for comedic effect that went over my head, I guess. But anyway, even then, though, because the Grumps were doing Akiba's Trip 2, in Japan, it was Akiba's Trip 2. Most people don't realize that it's a sequel. It was Akiba's Trip Undead and Undressed in the West, which is what most people know it as, and which was also the name under which it was being streamed. And so I talked to some of my friends over at Xseed when I saw it. I tweeted it to them, and they were like, yeah, we're super excited. I just shouted out loud in the office. So yeah, people are very happy to have their content streamed and talked about in general. We love fan stuff as well. I had a personal hand in the administration of a couple of fan art contests for the game series that I worked on, Class of Heroes, back in Japan, which was wildly successful, and it's a great community building type of thing. But Nintendo is an old-fashioned company with very, very deep-set cultural roots in Japan, so there's a lot of things that just kind of really can't be done about it. That said, though, I hope that they take a progressive attitude towards their way that they deal with AM2R. So far, it is a fantastic project, and it would be a real shame to see it disappear. In the meantime, though, if you're watching this video and the project still exists, I'm going to put a link to it in this video, and I hope that you snap it up and play it for yourself, because it is awesome. And because of the nature of the internet, even if Nintendo does get to it, you can bet that there's going to be some way to get your hands on it, so who knows. Anyway, though, play the game, give it a shot. If you liked the Metroid series, if you've never played a Metroid game, it's a great way to start, because even though it's not a real Metroid game, it's a great and very, very strong facsimile of one, so I think you'll enjoy it. It is part of the reason why puzzle platformers like this are called Metroidvania games, right? So anyway, thank you very much for watching this week. Check out AM2R. It's really cool so far. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I'm going to play a lot more of it. And if you guys want to see it done as a Let's Play, all you have to do is drop us a line in the comments below, and we will read those, and I will watch to see Nintendo's reaction about the game before I stream it, quite possibly, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, we'll give it a shot. So thank you very much for watching. If you are the kind of viewer who subscribes to people's channels, I would really appreciate it if you considered subscribing to mine. If not, however, it's always a pleasure to have you here, so thank you for dropping by. Take care, have a good rest of your Sunday, and the rest of your week, and any other day that you might be watching this video. Take care.